Hi, this is Alyssa Lee with Who Let Us Out. Super cool to meet you. Have watched all of your movies and shows. So this is really amazing.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. I do have to ask, with your, large, films and TVs, was there any emotional and like psychological things that you had to kind of deal with, going into a movie like this? I'm a huge fan of horror, but every time I leave watching a movie like this, I gotta watch SpongeBob or something right after.
Yeah, I mean, not really. It's, they say that like about like sex scenes, it's always about logistics and stuff like that. It's not, there's nothing ever really sexy. Is there ever anything really scary about doing a horror movie? I don't know. I mean, when I think of that experience, I think about like having to fly a lot because I had to fly like an insane amount, probably more than I've ever traveled back and forth for whatever reason. And I'm like, hate flying. So that's when I think of like the horror of making the movie, that's what I think about the most. Um, there was, a day, I guess at some point it had come to my attention that one of the stages we were using, or the stage, I'm not really sure, I can't remember exactly, was where Brandon Lee had been killed making The Crow, and it was a scene that was eventually cut out of the film, I think, but and that I have to say did make me uneasy because, I guess as much as I like to sort of pretend I don't believe in these sorts of things, I was a bit superstitious. But no, I mean, anytime you're having like a sort of heavy scene with somebody, you always kind of want to check in and make sure everybody feels okay or whatever. But I mean, in terms of like having to go like take some sort of spiritual shower afterwards, no, I didn't feel it.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm like a huge fan of The Crow, so it's just like, and
Oh
I know they're
yeah,
making a remake this year, so I'm really
yeah,
interested to see how
I
that
know.
comes out.
Weird. Yeah.
Um, Now, did this change your beliefs at all in exorcisms and the supernatural world after being in this?
No, I mean, no, no. I mean, to be honest, it's like, I kind of forgot that that was even the sort of point. I mean, not the point, but the genre, I guess, or the subgenre, or, one of the genres of the film. I always viewed this as a film about a guy making a movie or making a piece of art and, sort of unraveling, which has always been kind of something that was really interesting to me. And so I always viewed the film as that sort of being the sort of overriding kind of genre, and there was this kind of ancillary sort of horror thing, which was sort of the vehicle for this guy's unraveling. But yeah, no, I mean, I no, I don't believe in exorcisms any more or less than I did before. But I definitely believe that you can feel like you are possessed by something that, is something that, is that can overtake you emotionally and psychologically, but not the actual devil himself.
Back to your career, music, films, TV, has there been a particular role that has like impacted you the most?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me not to say Saving Private Ryan because just the impact that that has had on people and the people that I come in contact with, kind of daily. And then it's also hard not to say Dazed and Confused. When I think of the two experiences that I think kind of just affected me and felt the most, important to me, at the time, it's hard not to think of those two experiences. Not really the roles, I guess, but just the experiences.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I have time for one more. If you had to pick a horror or thriller from when you were younger to now, what is the film that has terrified you the most? I mean, mine is actually the original Exorcist. So
So the thing is, I was so scared of The Exorcist that I didn't see it till I was much older. And when I did, while I was scared, I was just more taken with what a brilliant piece of filmmaking it was. And it was when I could really appreciate what a brilliant piece of filmmaking it was. So I guess I'm glad I never saw that. But, there was stuff when I was a kid that was always on because we had the Z channel in Los Angeles, which showed all kinds of really amazing and adult sorts of oriented films. And I was like a latchkey kid from the 70s, so I ended up seeing probably more films than I probably should have that were probably not appropriate. And I remember seeing at least parts of The Omen when I was a kid, and like that scared the you know the shit out
yeah.
of me.
That and I think one of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacres
Yeah,
look-in.
yeah. That I didn't see till much later, where what I could appreciate sort of how funny it was, I guess.
Yeah.
If I had seen that as a kid, yeah, that would have been a
Yeah,
mistake.
looking at it now versus when I was like 10, I'm like, okay, it wasn't that scary, but
Yeah, it's
oh
kind of
well.
hilarious. But yeah.
Well, I've run out of time.
All right.
Thank you so much for this. It was so great meeting you and excited
Thank
to
you.
see more from you.
I
Bye.
appreciate it.
This is Alyssa Lee with Who Let Us Out. So I'm like a major horror fan, and it's so cool to meet you both. And what I really loved about this film is that it was completely different in my eyes to like other Exorcist movies that I've seen, which was really refreshing. And I had also obviously watched Russell Crowe's previous Exorcist movie, The Pope's Exorcist, but I do know that this was filmed before, correct me if I'm wrong, and I like this one a little bit more. But I do have to ask, did that kind of impact this film at all?
I never saw the Pope's Exorcist. I didn't even. I mean, I
Yeah.
was in. We live half the time in France, and I was like I was walking down the street. Suddenly, there's a bus going
Yeah.
by, and Russell's in the outfit. I was like, wait, what's happening? The
It's
movie's not out yet.
you like texted me a picture of it, and you were like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know." So I don't know. We never saw it. Godspeed.
But
I
no, it
guess.
had no effect on our process of the
No.
whole thing. So, but I mean, look, good for Russell. That movie did really well, and
Yeah.
in a weird way, like it's got people talking about this movie more. They think they're like, wait, is it about The Exorcist? Wait, is it a sequel to The
Yeah.
Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah.
Is it about the original Exorcist? So you know what? If people are talking, you're in a good place.
Yeah, like
It's better
like,
than them
whatever.
not talking, I think, probably.
Exactly. And I feel like they're so different, but I think it's always great to get that buzz.
It's
And he's
good. And thank
obviously,
you so much for saying that, by the way, about that you felt that it was a different kind of exorcism movie. We really
yeah.
did try to do something different. So that is like, okay, good, we did our job.
Yeah, and I feel like, I grew up, obviously, Joshua, like seeing the original Exorcist, and it scared me to this day, and just the music and everything freaks me out. So going into this, I didn't want to like look into any research. I wanted to go watch it fresh. And I was like, wow, this is different. And it's not your typical, you're possessed by, it's kind of movies. So I do kind of have to ask, going back to the original Exorcist, what was it like for the first time when you saw that and then seeing your own father on screen?
It's weird watching your dad get thrown out of a window and like thrown down a bunch of stairs by the devil or a demon or something. That's always a weird phenomenon. Not many children can relate. I guess it's a singular experience. So it was disturbing. It was very disturbing, and going back to what you're saying about the exorcism being like a different kind of movie, we wanted to definitely like lean into the idea of you always see women possessed and then men having to save women. And we were kind of like, that's kind of tired. Let's
Yeah.
have a man possessed saved
Yeah.
by women.
At the time we wrote it, we were kind of like, it seems like men are the ones who are having a problem acting a little bit out of pocket these days, and less so women. So I don't know.
I was a little more interested. We want women to have more agency in this movie, partly because, I don't know, raised by women. We've always been drawn to art about troubled women, or women in trouble, or troubled
Or
women. for that matter.
complicated women,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
So, as queers, we can relate.
I love that. And I love how the two girls in this movie were kind of the ones kind of rescuing and bringing Russell's character back to life. So I do want to kind of touch on, where did the idea come from, kind of making the film being the thing that kind of gets him down this downward spiral and his possession?
I think it was a kind of a cousin of our first movie, The Final Girls, and that like we were sort of interested. I think there's like a meta trilogy going on, at least in my brain, where like there's Final Girls, which was very much rooted in the conversation Mark and I had years ago, and then sort of the Kevin Williamson, who we were great fans of, had said he wanted to work with us, and then he's like, well, why not do something meta in relationship because it's something personal to you, and then we sort of said, well, let's just do something about The Exorcist and familial relationships. So I think there was definitely an idea of, how can you do something that's different, like you said, about exorcism movies? And we hadn't really seen any exorcism movie that was meta, so we just thought, okay, let's have some fun with this. And at first we were like, oh, let's do comedy, and then we went, no, I think the film's a little bit, let's do something more serious. So let's try that.
When it came to actually really being serious about what kind of wounds would create within Russell's character, make him a perfect vessel for a possession, it became very difficult to lean too far into the comedy. And so, while the movie has moments we think that are, like maybe let off steam a little bit in terms of comedy, it was like, okay, you have to really bring it in.
Yeah.
I feel like it has the perfect match of everything. Oh my God, I had so many more questions, but I have run out of time. It was so great meeting you both, and I would love to see more movies like this.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Alyssa.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Hi, this is Alyssa Lee with Who Let Us Out. So cool to meet you. I'm a huge horror fan, so films like this are just like my avenue, and I'm always excited to go in them and get scared. Obviously, being in the whole filming process of this, were there any moments like on set that were like really scary?
Any moments that were really scary? I mean, making a movie is kind of a scary thing in general. It's kind of like an insane task to undertake. And so there were definitely intense moments. Like the exorcism itself was only scary in that you hope it works, you know? You're trying so hard and so the stakes are high. Um we had one moment that felt a little haunting, but kind of in like a sweet way. Josh's mother passed not too long before they wrote the script. And obviously that's present in the film and with my character, and we really wanted to respect that and stay true to that. And there's a scene where Russell and I are talking about my mother, and I said, Mom, during one of the takes, a piece of set deck just like fell off of the wall and like crashed to the floor, like immediately as I said, Mom. And sort of all of us just sort of clocked that and recognized it and felt it, but it felt less like a haunting and more like a watchfulness, like a caring, almost like a sweet presence, which was really nice. And we try to stay true to that throughout the film.
Really is amazing because I've always thought like where when we leave, our human form, our energy goes somewhere, and I feel like it's
Right.
always somehow present. So you're never like alone in a good way, obviously. I don't believe in all like the scary, scary spirits or whatever. Hopefully.
Yeah, sure, right.
So I'm gonna go back to, your role. What was it like kind of playing Russell Crowe's daughter?
It was great. I mean, I really liked the character. She was really passionate and headstrong and brave, and just a natural rebel in the world, in part because of her queerness, but also just who she is. And it was exciting to represent that. But playing alongside Russell was also fantastic. He's really giving, he's really generous, and he operates as like a machine. In film, he just wants to make the best movie possible, which is also how I feel. I'm like a huge film nerd, and so I think we both love film, and we want to do our best to serve that love of filmmaking. And we were able to do that. We've also known each other for a really long time, so we had like a natural chemistry coming on set, but it was our first time getting to work together. So it was really exciting to to bring that chemistry to life.
Now, going back to horror, is there a horror movie that has terrified you to the point where you can't watch it again?
I mean, Barbarian was so scary.
Yeah.
That movie scared me so bad, more than I thought it would. Like, I didn't know what to expect going into that movie, and then I was filled with pure terror. Another movie that really scares me is Mulholland Drive. Like the creepy witch person at the back of the diner scares me so badly. When I first saw that movie, I saw it at like the Los Feliz 3, and she appeared on screen, and my body was like filled head to toe with just this like dread. And I was so stressed out the rest of the movie that she would come back. I didn't sleep that entire night because I felt like she was outside my window. And I was like 21 when I saw that movie. Like I was like a grown person. But I love horror, so I would watch both of those movies like a million times.
I love horror too, but I don't know why. Since I was a kid, the Green Witch and the Wizard of Oz has always terrified me because I would like I'd have a dream and she would come to my window, our house in England, and she would just be like flying and would take me away from my mom, and it was just so
Oh,
terrifying. I'm like, why was I scared of
terrifying.
that? Like, I don't know, but that was like my thing. And then Barbarian, I will not go back to an Airbnb. I have a quick
Fully.
I think I have run out of time, but thank you so, so much. It was great meeting you. I
Yeah,
love the
you
movie.
too.
And I
I'm
hope
so
there's going to
glad.
be more movies. I was just talking to them about it. I was like, I really hope we see more like this because I love that it was like a different perception of your typical exorcism movie.
I know. Fingers crossed.
Thank you. Have a lovely
Thanks.